Jennifer with Mindful Movement, Mindful Living, and I am here today to talk about movement, one of my favorite topics. So specifically, I'm here to talk about creating a learning space for our children that allows them more variety and frequency of movement, even while they're learning. So if moving more, moving well, moving naturally are all things that are interesting or important to you, please give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that we can stay connected and encourage each other on this topic. So today we are talking about creating a space for children, a learning space where they can, even though they're learning, still be moving in a variety of ways and moving more frequently. And what I mean is more frequently than if they're sitting at a desk, which generally is what we think of when we think about a child learning or being in school, right? It's that kind of desk position, and in a fixed position, kind of staying there for a while. So to kind of undo that a little bit, I'm going to talk about just some really simple ways to encourage and allow children to move more and more frequently. Because I get a lot of questions on what the best position is to be sitting in if you're at a desk or if you're doing work. And my answer is, I don't know if this is allowed as an answer, but my answer would be no position. Probably not what anyone was looking for. I would say there is no position that is good for us to be sitting in for the entire time we would be learning during a school day or sitting at a desk during a work day. That's a lot of hours to be in one position. There is no position that's great to do that because our body is really designed to move frequently. It's not designed to be in a fixed position. And I don't mean that we have to be doing, cardio intervals every 5 minutes. That's not what I'm saying. Movement breaks are great and movement is great. Big movement is great, but also just those little movements of sitting in different positions makes a big difference as well. So I would say the best position to be in is any position that allows us to move, even if it's just a little bit, frequently, and maybe encourages us to do that without having to really think about it. So there are, I would say, two main things to accomplish this in a really easy and effective way. And the first one is to create some open spaces. And I don't mean you have to get rid of all of your furniture. I mean, if that's what you want to do, of course, that's great. But you can see I have a couch right behind me. We have furniture in my home. We aren't furniture free, but I do not have, for example, in this room I'm in right now, I don't have a coffee table in the middle. I have a big open space so that there's lots of room to move. I have, actually right here, stability ball. So I've got things around. I have stability balls. For kids, I have actually I have this right here. Little things they can spin in or sit on. So I have lots of different things that, within the open space that are out, bolsters, blocks, balls, things like that kind of encourage movement without having to think about it too much, especially if you're a kid. And the other thing is to create some floor sitting areas where children can sit on a floor cushion or straight on the floor or a comfortable rug. Because when we're sitting, just naturally, we tend to shift positions more frequently, definitely more frequently than if we are in a chair. So for example, I'm sitting on a floor cushion right now and I'm sitting kind of on my hip a little bit. And I already can tell my hip is sort of ready for me to move. And I don't have to think about it. I didn't have to set a timer that said, oh, it's been 5 minutes, it's time to move. Just naturally, my hip is kind of giving me that feedback that it's kind of done in this position and it's time to switch, to a different position. So that is great. We don't have to think about it. And especially children, right? They just naturally will tend to move more frequently or want to move more frequently. So just being able to maybe even be in the same spot where maybe we're focusing on, a video or some writing or reading. So we're staying in the same place, but we're shifting around. Maybe we're sitting in a half squat. Maybe we're sitting in a wide-legged position. Maybe then we're in a full squat or sitting on our hip. So there's a lot of different opportunities to move and sit in different positions than if we were in sort of that classic chair at a desk situation. So really simple, really just creating some open spaces and just creating some opportunities to sit on the floor, which is as simple as a comfortable rug or a cushion or a blanket or something. So it doesn't need to be something that costs any money or takes a whole lot of planning to do, which is my favorite type of thing. It's easy and it's effective, and that is right up my alley. So I'm going to give you now a tour of the homeschool room at my house that I use for my kids, and just along with that will be some ideas of how we have implemented some ways where kids can be learning and focusing. I mean, I assure you my children are learning, but they also can move their bodies in different positions. So we're not in that fixed position that tends to cause a lot of issues with movement, right? So, or immobility or that type of thing. So they can move in a big range of motion, getting all the way up and down from the floor. They can shift around within the spot they're in, even if they're staying in one spot, reading something or writing, and they can get all done. So it's a nice way, it's a nice efficient way, an effective way to, even while we're stuck in one spot doing a task, we can still be doing something really mindful and great for our movement. So here we go. Here's a tour of my homeschool room. So here is a little tour of our homeschool room. If you are looking for a homeschool room or a remote learning room or just work room in general that has some options for varied seated positions. So you can fit in more movement and different types of movement, even when you are doing something that's typically a sedentary activity like reading or typing or writing. So here is our room, and I'll just go through. I'm going to try not to make you too dizzy as I go through here, but this is the room that we do our homeschool in. And we also go outside, actually. We like to go outside quite a bit, so we have some outside areas set up as well, but this is the indoor one. So here, I'll start over on this side. So this is really just a coffee table, and it works as a nice low desk. And I just have this fluffy little fuzzy rug that my children love. It's really comfortable to sit on. And actually you can see probably right next to it how I have those wooden boards kind of tucked in the side of the desk. Those are great boards, art boards, to use if you are doing work on the floor or going outside. So my kids have, a writing surface, a nice writing surface that can travel anywhere around the room or in the house or outdoors. So that's that first spot. So we obviously do have furniture too. I'm not saying that we're furniture free by any means. So we have couches and chairs too, but just lots of options I think is really, really helpful. So we have some floor cushions over here. Those are just a great way to encourage people to get down on the floor, kids to hang out on the floor and be there. So I like to keep a lot of floor cushions around my home, and myself included. It encourages me to get down on the floor and not just sit in a chair all the time. And then over here are the actual desks that they use, or technically desks. They are side tables, I believe. They're from IKEA, and they were only about $10 each. Actually, they're really lightweight. My children put them together, so they're very easy to assemble. They're lightweight because they don't necessarily have to stay right here. They can move around the room, around the house. We've even brought them outside. So these are really nice. And then I have some more floor cushions here. And then also to encourage movement, believe it or not, I have these, if you can see underneath, they each have a little tote bag, a canvas tote. And those bags hold their textbooks, paper, pencil cases, stuff like that. So we're not limited to the desk. So we can easily grab those bags and take them to another part of the room or take them outside on the go. So they're not kind of stuck to that desk with their work. They can easily move their textbooks and paper and pencils other places. And the same thing over here, as we go by the keyboard, that works for music lessons. We have this is our morning basket. Same thing. This has different books in it. It has our maps, actually. I love these scrunch maps. So there's a world map and a US map in here. And those, and some flashcards, books. This rotates, what's in here. But so we can just take our stuff. We can just take this basket, whatever we're doing. We can take this basket to another part of the room. We usually do it on the rug if we're inside. Or we can easily grab this and take it outside. So just having things that are portable is another great way to encourage varied movement, because you're not sort of stuck in that spot. It's not sitting in a drawer somewhere where we feel like we have to be at that desk. So just coming around in an attempt not to make you dizzy in this room tour. So we just have this rug here. So this is a great one. We can use this. We sit on the rug, lay on the rug, grab a floor cushion and hang out on the rug. So that's just nice. Just having a nice open space instead of putting, a coffee table or something here. I have the coffee table against the wall. So it can be used for floor sitting there, and then encourage this. It kind of opened up this space here to just, allow more movement. My children can cartwheel across here if they want, and they usually do. I have some more over here. I have another space, more floor cushions. So many floor cushions in my house. And same thing, it's actually these are the same table. So I have 2 Lego tables one for each of my children. It's the same table that I have for their desk. I just glued a Lego base plate on top. So that way they have their Legos, and I'll just take you across slowly so you don't get dizzy, or too dizzy anyway. And then over here, there's the other one. So that's just another spot they can sit at. Again, grab a floor cushion, sit there. These desks, again, they're really portable, so they can move them around too. They've been everywhere. They've been outside, inside, all over the place. And then just moving over here. So we have just some books, obviously. The key to any classroom is having some books. So I'm just going to take you as slowly as I can to this. So this room is technically a bedroom. I'll just give a slow kind of view here of what the room looks like. It's nighttime, you can probably tell. I had to wait till my children were not in here to film it. So they're sleeping. That's why it's so dark outside. So this is what it looks like, just to get an idea. So this is technically a bedroom, and I'll show you in a moment another space we have for varied movement. So it's really simple. It's inexpensive. It's probably stuff you have around the house. And in some cases, it's just getting rid of maybe some things you have around the house, or moving your coffee table to the side instead of having it in the middle of the room, opening up some space. So it's just really super simple. And that's why I wanted to show this, because it's not something that is a big, it's not an overwhelming thing to do. So I'm open. It's because this is a bedroom. It has a closet, which is kind of nice. So we have this closet space. So we use this for printer, it's sort of office-y stuff. The printer, the laminator, the paper. We've got some crafts. I'll show you this, even though it's not related to movement. I guess it is a little bit, because we have to reach really high up anytime we want these crafts, but just to get a sense of the space. So this is so this is the closet, but I use this as another space. So we have another desk in here. And then we have 2 sizes of these stability balls. So these are great. So if one of us is sitting at this desk, we can be sitting on the ball. I will say most often the ball is stored here and ends up in the middle of the room where the kids can kind of bounce around on them. And that's great. It's a really nice natural movement break. It just naturally happens because it's out. And again, I think that's a big part of it. Just arranging a room with floor cushions, with space, with stability balls, just really helps create a space where naturally you're going to move more And we don't even really have to think about it, which is, always nice. We have enough to think about, right? So if the room just naturally supports more movement, then that's great. So that's that space in there. And I'll just come around. So one more time. And this is the main room. So that's it. So we've got just some floor desks, some open space where you can be on the actual floor. Yeah, and of course we have some regular furniture in here as well, some stability balls, and that just really naturally lends for just some nice options for movement, even when we're doing things that are sedentary. So movement, we don't always have to be on a hike or doing something that seems like exercise. Sometimes just changing our position more frequently, or going, or our range of motion where we're going all the way down to the floor and all the way back up, is just really nice for mobility and strength and really just kind of moving our body in different ways. So I hope that was helpful. There's our tour. So there we have it. That's a tour of my homeschool room. I hope I didn't make you too dizzy trying to get around the whole thing there. But it works really well. It was really easy to do. It's really effective. There's a lot of options there for my children to be focusing on learning, but at the same time able to move their body in different ways. And the key really isn't that it has to look exactly like my homeschool room. It's not, some ideal room. Whatever you have in your house for your space, it would just be about creating some open spots, maybe just taking a coffee table and pushing it against the wall, or grabbing some blankets, some pillows, a stability ball, a yoga block, whatever you've got, and kind of creating some spaces where children can learn, but be sitting on the floor, or have a nice open space on a rug where they can lie down, where they can stand, and be in a variety of different positions. So I hope that was helpful. I would love to see and hear from you on your setups at home. I mean, especially I think this year, as we're going into the 2020 to 2021 school year, there are a lot more children just at home learning there. We have a lot of remote and distance learning and hybrid learning, hybrid options with schools and homeschooling, of course. So I think this year, more of us are taking our learning home, or, doing our learning from home. So it's important to make sure we have just some nice spaces to do that. Again, it can be super simple, super inexpensive, or actually no cost at all, but really effective for everyone. So I hope this was helpful. I look forward to hearing from you, and I wish everybody a happy school year. Thanks so much.